Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to bring you an update on Ethereum. I see a few very interesting things going on. We have recovered a little bit after the massive crash we've had. We had a, let's say, over 33% correction with Ethereum. In this video, I'm going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what I see happening both short-term and long-term. So if you like the sound of that, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. So look, I was ringing the alarm bell here on Ethereum, saying we broke out bullishly at $1,500, saying we're likely to hit $2,000, and that is exactly where we hit now. We have had a massive correction, but the worst may be potentially over. Let's run through some TA and kind of figure out what's going on with the market. Looking at the market today, a lot of stuff is in the green. I really hope some of you got to see our video that I put out the other day, my top 7 altcoins to buy on the dip. A lot of those coins that I mentioned in that video are up quite a bit. So folks, I really hope you stay tuned to this channel, and I really hope you hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads, because we bring you time-sensitive critical TA all throughout this bull run. So to get a sense of what Ethereum is going to do in the short term here, I think it's important to take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, because the Ethereum Bitcoin pair I think will be very telling to try to understand and gauge hidden bullish divergence and bearish divergence on the US dollar value. So if on the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, ETH has recently fallen below a critical support level, and we are finding support on the VPVR point of control right around 0.03. Okay, if this area does not hold, I think we're going for another leg down into the 2625 region, which I think if this area doesn't hold and we go for that leg down, I think Ethereum in US dollar price will go for some kind of leg down. If we can break above the key resistance level of kind of 3.5 here in the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, and if we start to go for that leg up, I think the US dollar price for Ethereum will start to go for a little bit of leg up. So this is going to be an important chart to keep an eye out for, to try to understand what Ethereum will do. As well, Bitcoin, Bitcoin leads the market. It's because Bitcoin having dumped that the market as a whole dumped. Let me see if I have the chart pulled up here. No, I don't seem to have it pulled up quite this moment, but there was the whole reason that caused the dump was F2 pool dumping on the market. And so if we ever get a spike in that, I think that will definitely cause further dumping in the market. So we will definitely be letting you guys know what's going on with that if and when we see another dump. So before we delve into like support and resistance areas and price targets here, let's take a look at our indicators and try to figure out what's going on with Ethereum. So let's begin by looking at the daily. Daily MACD has had a bearish crossover. We are on the way down. This is very bearish. Everything on the daily looks bearish. Weighted MACD on the way down. Stochastic RSI on the way down. Regular RSI, lower highs, lower lows, all the way around. Daily looks extremely bearish. So let's take a look at the 12. 12, we're starting to see some signs of some strength here. MACD starting to tick up. Histogram starting to tick up. Weighted MACD starting to curve up. Looks like we might want to have a bullish crossover soon. Good to see. Stochastic RSI, bullish crossover on the way up. That is bullish. RSI, touch the overbought region, is having a leg up. Very interesting to see. So 12 hour is we're starting to see some strength. Let's take a look at the 6 hour, just an extension of the 12. Strength all the way around, except stochastic RSI concerningly starting to curve down. Might want to have a bearish crossover, so that is concerning. 4 hour, bullish crossover in the MACD. Weighted MACD on the way up. Stochastic RSI on the way up, although concerningly overbought, curving down. Might want to have a bearish crossover. So we're not getting a strong confluence of reasons, although the bullish crossover on the MACD on the 4 hour is very bullish, obviously. So 2 hour, yeah, see, look at this. So 2 hour, MACD histogram starting to tick down. Weighted MACD on the way down. Let's take a look at the 1 here, and the 1 is on the way down. So just to kind of summarize what I think I'm seeing here. Larger time frames like the daily look bearish, although we're starting to see some signs of some strength, some recovery, although the lower hourly time frames aren't looking too hot. So what do I think this translates into? Well, we got rejected off a peak in volume, okay, off kind of like the, I'd say, yeah, the 1700 region is where we found rejection. We seem to be wanting to have a bit of a leg down. So ultimately, I think the key support level we need to look out for is the 100 EMA on the 8 hour. I believe this is now the most relevant support level, the 100 EMA on the 8 hour, to try to understand what Ethereum's going to do in the short term. And I think moving forward, the the 8 hour is perhaps the most relevant area to look at in terms of trying to understand key support levels, because we have found support on the 100 and 200 8-hour EMAs. So moving forward, I believe now the 200 EMA on the 8 hour is the most important support level. If we start to fall below this level here, I'm going to start to be worried about Ethereum's short-term future. But as long as we can maintain above this, I think Ethereum is looking short-term bullish, folks. Like, you know, we have had a massive 33% correction. But we are finding support here, and until we start to fall below, unless we start to fall below 1400 again, I'm not going to be too worried about Ethereum's price action here. But if we start to fall below the 100 EMA on the 8-hour, I do think we have a good chance of falling back down, perhaps retesting this green slanted support line. We can kind of see how, based off these previous peaks here and here, if we extend these green support lines, we're kind of reacting to them somewhat. Right now, especially this wick here, we found support based off the extension of these of this line here, based off these two peaks. So I think if we start to break below the 100 EMA here on the 8-hour, probably going to retest this thing here. And if these key levels can't hold, again, I think we're retesting 200 EMA on the 8-hour, and if that cannot hold, I think we're retesting 1265 to say 1200. If we start to break below 1200, I would personally be worried that Ethereum has reached some kind of local top or some kind of cycle top. But until we hit that, I'm not too worried, to be honest. So another thing as well here, kind of key resistance levels to mention, I'd say 1700 to 1720 key resistance. Aside from that, I'd say 1800 to 1830 is key resistance level. The more of these resistance levels we break up, I think the more likely we are to see bullish continuation. Now, if we can take a look here at the 6-hour, so we can also see that the 6-hour 100 EMA is kind of acting as resistance. So if we look between the 8-hour and the 6-hour, we're right in between those two EMAs. So the 100 EMA on the 8-hour is acting as support. The 100 EMA on the 6-hour is acting as resistance. So in the short term, I think to understand direction with Ethereum, I think we're just going to be range bound between these two EMAs, these two support and resistance areas, until we break out one way or the other. Whatever way we break out of these two zones here, I think will be very telling for future price action in the short term for Ethereum. So I think that's kind of the key level to look out for in the short term, trying to understand what Ethereum's going to do short term. Now, another thing to mention, I do think we're in the beginning stages of a bull run that's likely to last many more months. The better part of this year, I think the majority of this year is going to be a bull run. I don't think this is the top for Ethereum, to be honest. I think there's so many reasons, a lot more reasons, in fact, to that point towards the fact that Ethereum has a very bright long-term future, and that this was just an extremely normal to be anticipated correction. One thing to understand, folks, we're in crypto. This is the most highly volatile asset class in the world. If you're a long-term investor, expect, it's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. Expect half a dozen to a dozen large, substantial corrections, 30% plus corrections with the market as a whole throughout this next year before this bull run is over. Be aware this happens all the time. This is quite common. And another chart I think is interesting to look at to try to understand why I think Ethereum's nowhere near its top. So if we look back at the previous cycle, the previous bull run when Ethereum reached its peak at roughly $1,400, we can see here there was a massive spike in new addresses for Ethereum, and we can see this cycle, this time around, the new addresses for Ethereum is trending up, but we're nowhere near the peak. We're nowhere near the fervor of the previous cycle. So this time around, I fully expect new addresses to not only reach but vastly surpass the new addresses of the previous cycle. So in terms, I think this is like a good gauge of like what the normal people are thinking and doing in this market. And I still think we have not gotten that flood of retail, of normal people, of normies into Ethereum. And once we see the new addresses for Ethereum start to reach these previous tops from the previous cycle, that's when I would start to contemplate some kind of cycle top. But until we reach these levels and surpass it, I still think Ethereum has a long way to go this time around. As well, another very important chart to try and gauge when we're going to have some kind of cycle top is the net unrealized profit and loss chart, okay, by Glassnode here. If we look back historically, the blue tops here, okay, the euphoria tops have been directly correlated with cycle tops, historically speaking. So like here and here, look at that. Every single time we entered the blue euphoria phase, we've reached some kind of cycle or local top. This time around, we have not. So I'm not worried that Bitcoin has reached some kind of market top. And it's important to understand what Bitcoin's doing, because Bitcoin leads the market. Bitcoin reaches some kind of top that's going to have an effect on Ethereum and the altcoins. So until Bitcoin reaches this blue euphoria zone where people make too much money too quick, and we explode in an unsustainable manner, I don't think, I'm not worried that we've reached some kind of top with the market. So that's why I think it's healthy that we've had this correction. And I personally, I hope we correct further. I hope we correct for weeks and months, because I know that that's going to solidify and make the next pump stronger. So see here, we had this massive correction. It was doom and gloom. Nobody wanted to touch Bitcoin. But right here, I was ringing the alarm bells that we had a bullish crossover on the 12-hour MACD, and we were very likely to explode. And look what happened afterwards. So I personally do hope that we have an extended correction period. And it's important to understand what Bitcoin's going to do, because look, last cycle, Ethereum reached its peak roughly a month after Bitcoin. So I think something similar, very similar, could happen this time around. So whenever Bitcoin decides to reach the blue euphoria zone, I would wager that it's around Ethereum's time to reach its peak. I'd wager that once Bitcoin reaches the blue euphoria zone, I'd say roughly a month after is when Ethereum's likely to reach its peak. So those are kind of my thoughts with Ethereum and trying to understand what it's going to do long term. I think Bitcoin's likely to reach its peak September, October this year, and Ethereum is likely to reach its peak roughly a month after. So regardless of what happens here in the short term, I'm not going to sell. I'm a long-term investor. So those are my thoughts with Ethereum, folks. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads as well. If you want to support us, you like what we do, please check out our Patreon, link down in the description below. You get access to our VIP Discord group where we talk about low cap gems, interesting setups, that kind of thing. So thanks for watching, folks. Take care.